Hello dear students, in this session let us try to calculate the moment of inertia of solid cylinder about some specified axis. So all of you might have seen a solid cylinder. Its shape is cylindrical. It will have a radius, fixed radius of capital R, and the length of this cylinder may be defined as L. So the cross section of this cylinder is in the shape of circle or a disc whose area is given by pi r square, since r is the radius of the disc, and the volume of this cylinder is given by pi r square into L, the cross section area multiplied by the total length. So this is how a solid cylinder will look like. Now let us try to calculate the moment of inertia of this solid cylinder. First, we will try to calculate the moment of inertia about an axis passing through the inside of the cylinder, which is also called its own axis. So this is an imaginary axis passing through the inside of the cylinder, and about this axis the cylinder is making rotations. And what is the moment of inertia in this particular case? To calculate the moment of inertia in this case, we can assume that the cylinder is composed of small discs of fixed radius, same radius capital R, and when we put these discs above one another, we will get the full cylinder. Suppose mass of each of this disc is m, and when you add together masses of all the discs, you will get the total mass capital M of the cylinder. So in the case of this disc, as we have already calculated, when you rotate the cylinder, each of this disc will be making rotations, and the moment of inertia of this disc, as we have calculated, is given by m r square by 2. This is the moment of inertia corresponding to a disc when it is making rotations about an axis passing through the center and perpendicular to its plane. This situation is exactly identical to that case. Here the mass of each of the discs is small m and their radius are capital R. So the moment of inertia is small m r square by 2. Now to calculate the moment of inertia of the cylinder, we will have to add up the moment of inertia contributed by all the discs. Or equivalently, you may integrate the mass terms, considering dm to be the masses of each of this disc. You may integrate over all masses, or you can just sum over all the masses. So we may get the total moment of inertia of the cylinder about its own axis, which we call as I, that's equal to sum of moment of inertias of all individual discs, which is sum over small m r square. This is equal to r square into sum over all the masses, which is m r square by 2. So r square by 2 into sum over all masses. So we may get m r square, capital M r square by 2. So this is the moment of inertia corresponding to a solid cylinder which is making rotations about its own axis. Now coming to the second part, let us try to calculate the moment of inertia of the same cylinder about another axis. This axis passes through the center of the cylinder and the axis is perpendicular to the length of the cylinder. So you may imagine the axis to be like this and you are making rotations like this. So the cylinder will execute circular motion about this axis. Now to calculate that, as we have already done in other circumstances, we will have to calculate one parameter called the mass per unit volume of the cylinder. So let us define mass per unit volume, which is mass by volume to be equal to m divided by pi r square L, where pi r square L is the volume of the cylinder. So we define this term as rho, which is the mass per unit volume of the cylinder. Now to find out the moment of inertia of the cylinder about this specified axis, we will have to assume a specific case. Here we assume that the total cylinder is composed of small discs like this, and when we are rotating this cylinder about this axis 1, in fact we are rotating all these discs about this axis. So these different discs are placed at different positions. Suppose say here this disc that you see in the shaded color, it is at a distance of x from this axis. Within the cylinder there will be other small discs which is at another distance from the axis, say x2. So the whole disc is composed of small discs that are at different distance from the axis of rotation. But the radius of all these discs are same, which is capital R itself. Now, when we rotate this cylinder about this axis 1, each of these discs will be executing circular motion about this axis. Then, can you find out the moment of inertia corresponding to that particular motion? So let us write the mass of the disc that will be equal to the mass per unit volume, which is rho, multiplied by the volume of the disc. Now what is the volume of this disc? This is a small disc. It has a cross-section area of pi r square, which is the area of the circle, and it has a thickness of dx, small thickness of dx. So the volume dV of this small disc will be the cross-section area pi r square multiplied by the length of the disc, which is pi r square dx. This is the small volume of this small disc. Therefore, the mass of this disc will be pi r square dx, which is the volume of the disc, multiplied by the volume, mass per unit volume, which is rho. This will be the total mass of the disc that we have considered. Similarly, the mass of any of the discs that we take at any arbitrary length will be of this volume, since we keep the dx length fixed. Now, having known this value of mass, let us calculate the moment of inertia of the disc. So, the moment of inertia which is to be calculated can be found out using the parallel axis theorem. Because in this situation, you cannot directly find the moment of inertia of this disc about this axis 1. This axis is at a distance from this disc, and you cannot directly say the moment of inertia. But parallel axis theorem can be used in this case because we already know about the moment of inertia of a disc when it is rotating about an axis passing through its diameter. That is indicated by axis number 2. In that particular case, the moment of inertia is given by mr square by 4. That is when a disc is executing rotational motion about its diameter. Now the same disc is executing rotational motion about another axis, which is axis number 1, and we have to calculate that moment of inertia. So by using the parallel axis theorem, we may write I. So this is ICM. I equal to ICM plus m into distance square. In this case, it is x square. I call this as ICM because the second axis passes through the center of mass of the disc, not through the center of mass of the cylinder, but through the center of mass of the disc. Here in this particular instance, we are calculating the moment of inertia of this disc. So this is the ICM value. So this is equal to m r square by 4 plus, sorry, a small change here. The mass that we substitute here should be the mass of the disk, not the whole mass of the cylinder. This small m, capital M, corresponds to mass of the disk, and here too this capital M or small m should correspond to the mass of the disk, because we are trying to calculate the moment of inertia of the disk. So by using parallel axis theorem, we may write the moment of inertia of the disk about this axis 1 equal to the moment of inertia of the disk about axis 2, which is the ICM value, plus the mass of the disk multiplied by the distance square, which is x square. Now the moment of inertia of the disk about axis 2, it is given by the equation I equal to m r square by 4. The mass should be the mass of the disk. We have already calculated the mass of the disk, so all we have to do is to substitute this value there and to calculate the mass of the moment of inertia of the disk. So this is equal to pi r square dx into rho, which is the mass, multiplied by r square divided by 2, divided by 4. So this is the m r square by 4 part, that is this part, ICM part, which is m r square by 4, plus again the mass of the disk, which is again pi r square dx multiplied by x square. Now this is the moment of inertia of the disk about this axis passing through 1. Now as we have already learned, the total moment of inertia of the cylinder will be the total moment of inertia due to all the small disks that you can see inside this cylinder. We have calculated the moment of inertia due to a single disk. Similarly, there are a number of disks inside the cylinder, and the contribution from all these cylinders will make up the total moment of inertia of the whole cylinder. So what we have to do is to integrate this term that we have. This is the moment of inertia due to a single disk. We will have to integrate this term over the whole length of the disk to find out the total moment of inertia. So that is the total moment of inertia of the cylinder about the axis 1, that is equal to integration from minus L by 2 up to L by 2, the moment of inertia due to each of the disk. Moment of inertia of each of the disk is given by this equation, and you will have to integrate from minus L by 2 up to L by 2, because that is the length of the disk, length of the cylinder. Here distance of disk from this axis varies from minus L by 2 length up to L by 2 length. L is the total length of the cylinder, and these two halves are the two halves of the cylinder. So the length of the cylinder varies from minus L by 2 up to L by 2. So instead of doing this difficult integration, we can make a small correction here. Instead of doing an integration from minus L by 2 up to L by 2, we can actually integrate from 0 to L by 2, the moment of inertia of each disk, and multiply that term by a factor of 2 to get the total moment of inertia. So integration from minus L by 2 up to L by 2, the moment of inertia of each disk, dx is same as 2 times integration from 0 to L by 2 integration of moment of inertia of each of the disk. So we will be using this simpler method to find out the total moment of inertia. So let me write, this is equal to the moment of inertia of the cylinder about the axis 1, which is the total moment of inertia in our particular case. That is equal to 2 times the moment of inertia due to disk. Integrate from 0 to L by 2. So 2 times 0 to L by 2 integration. The term is pi r square dx into rho divided by 4 multiplied by r square plus pi r square dx into rho. Here a rho factor is there. Rho into pi r square dx into x square. This is the mass. So pi r square dx into rho multiplied by x square. Now let me rearrange certain terms. This is equal to 2 times integration from 0 to L by 2 pi r raised to 4 rho divided by 4 dx plus pi r square rho x square dx. Now carrying out this integration part, here in the first term, these terms are constants, and in the second term, the pi r square rho term is constant. The integration is with respect to x, because x varies from 0 to L by 2. So this is equal to 2 times pi r raised to 4 rho divided by 4. Integral dx is x within the limits 0 up to L by 2 plus pi r square rho into x cube by 3 within the limits 0 to L by 2. Now carrying out this part, this is equal to pi r raised to 4 rho divided by 4 divided by 2 into L by 2 minus 0 plus pi r square rho into L by 2 whole cube by 3 minus 0 multiplied by A2. This 2 term is common to both this first term and second term. Now this is equal to pi r raised to 4. Instead of rho, let me substitute m divided by pi r square L. Multiplied by L by 2 whole divided by 2 plus 2 pi r square into m divided by pi r square L multiplied by L cube by 8 divided by 3, which is L cube by 24. Now this is equal to, we can cancel out certain terms here. R raised to 4 and r square will cancel out. 1 r square will cancel out. The pi term will cancel out. Here L will cancel out. So the first term is r square m divided by 4. 2 and 2 will together be in the denominator. That is how we have a 4 here. Plus this 2 and 24 will cancel and we will have a 12 there. Pi will cancel out, r square will cancel out, 1 L factor will cancel out. So that is m into L square divided by 12. So it is equal to m into r square divided by 4 plus L square divided by 12. So here in this equation, r corresponds to the radius of the disk and L is the length of the disk. So you can see the moment of inertia depends on the mass of the disk, radius and the length of the disk. So that is the equation for the moment of inertia of the disk about this axis 1, which passes through the center of the disk and it is also perpendicular to the length of the disk. So in this particular case, we calculated two moment of inertia. First, we calculated the moment of inertia of the cylinder about an axis, about its own axis, which is simply the same equation as that of a disk, m r square by 2. And in the second case, we calculated the moment of inertia through this axis as indicated in the figure, and the moment of inertia is given by this second equation. I hope the calculation of moment of inertia of solid cylinder is clear for you. We calculated two different moment of inertia values, and from these two values, you can actually calculate the moment of inertia of the same cylinder about a number of other axes. Suppose the axis is at one of the end of the cylinder, you may use the parallel axis theorem again to find out the moment of inertia, or if it is tangential here at this end, you may again use the parallel axis theorem and use the m r square by 2 factor of equation of moment of inertia. So I hope this portion is clear for you. Thank you.